Mm-hmm. But I'll turn it down some. Right, so I just started college at Drexel. You know, it's a lot different than high school. It's a lot different here than it is, like, in every single way that you can imagine. It's different, you know. The way, like, the times you get up, how much I actually get to sleep, which is not that much. But yeah, it's weird because I can actually get myself up now, which I couldn't do before with anything, especially during the summer. Because during the summer, you know, you have, like, nothing to do, especially this past summer, because you're in between high school and college. It's not like you have any work to prepare for high school, because high school's over. You're just getting ready to leave for college, and you're just kind of in this limbo. Just, like, right in the middle. You're just waiting for this side, but you're already finished here, so you don't know what to do with yourself. So literally, you just commit yourself to playing video games and sleeping and eating. But the weird thing about eating is that I actually didn't eat that much. Like, I think it's because my body was so used to, like, not doing anything all day that it didn't need to eat very much. So literally, I would have, like, maybe a donut in the morning because I really like donuts. I had lots of donuts this summer. I would have donuts and, like, maybe a granola bar or something for breakfast. And when I say breakfast, I don't mean, like, breakfast like when it's supposed to be, but I'm sure lots of people can relate to having breakfast at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, because it's just like, you know, they made breakfast foods, like, they think, you know, when you wake up, what's the first thing you want to eat? That's why most of the breakfast foods out there are, like, deliciously amazing, like bacon and pancakes and waffles and French toast and donuts. I mean, come on, those, like, when you get up, those are the things you want to eat. Like, no matter what time of day it is, you want to eat these foods. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just being whatever. But honestly, I feel like that's what people want to eat when they wake up, is those delicious foods. But that's whatever. So I'm here at college, and, you know, I don't have to get up to every day. You have to get up at a different time, which is really one of the main differences that I noticed from high school, is that, you know, in high school, you go to school starts at a certain time every day, and you have to get up at that same time every morning, and it sort of makes this for a monotonous routine, which I really didn't like that much about high school in this at least, especially in the last year, my senior year. Like, I was really starting to feel like towards the end of the year we weren't really doing that much, and I was sort of like going through the same routine every single day, just trying to get through the end of the year, and it was really boring and it was not fun. And now it's sort of like every day you have a different schedule. I mean, sometimes you have the same classes on different days, but, like, every day your classes are starting at different times. Like, today, I've been up for, like, almost, well, no, that's not. I've been up for a while because I had an 8 a.m. chem lab this morning, which feels like it was, like, 2 days ago, but yet it was this morning at, like, 8 a.m. So I had to get up really early. But that's, you know, that's usually as early as you have classes. But, I mean, then, like, tomorrow's not a usual Wednesday, because usually on Wednesdays I don't have to get up till, like, 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock if I want to. But for tomorrow, we have a chemistry exam, which we've all been studying for like idiots for the past, well, I can't say we've all been studying. We've all been doing these assignments called owls. These dumb things. Well, this isn't them. This is the CD thing that it came in. It's the owl. It reminds people of Harry Potter because, like, the owl tests. Except I imagine the owls in Harry Potter were probably much cooler than these, because they get to do, like, magic and stuff. These are, like, magically horrible and not fun. So you kind of just have this code and you enter it in and you have, like, and not to mention, the access to this thing is like $100, which in and of itself is like, shoot me in the face. I thought, you know, I went to buy this book, this chemistry book, the chemistry book for the class. You know, you get your giant textbook with like a million jillion pages, and it weighs about 2 tons, metric tons. And you know, it costs $200 and some for this textbook. And they were they weren't out of used ones, but you know, getting a used, that's a whole other story, used books. But it was like, needless to say, the book was almost $200, and you get this with it. But I wasn't really including the price of this in it, because the price of this is like $100 in and of itself. So total with the book and access to owls, it's like $250, I think. It was like $250, $60 maybe. And, you know, these things are horrible. Like, I would not pay a homeless man $100 to repeatedly stab myself in the face. That just doesn't sound right. You know, you get it, it's like, oh, look, it looks like it might be fun. It has a picture of the textbook on the front, so you don't fuck up and get the wrong one. It looks like fun, maybe. But then you get it, and you start looking at the assignments, and then, like me, you do the first section, you're like, oh, that's all we have to do, but then you realize, like, a day before the rest of them are due that you actually have, like, 80 more problems to do. And, yeah, and they get harder as they go on, naturally, so I did all the easy ones in a day, and I thought I was done, and I still had, like, what, at least 80 more problems to do, because there was, like, at least 100, maybe less than 100 total to do. And I have to say, I don't think I finished all of them, but, like, everybody was complaining about how difficult they were, and, you know, it was whatever, but it was not fun. And then sometimes, like, Mondays, you can like sleep like till like the freaking fat lady sings in the afternoon, because the fat lady like lives across. Yeah. You could sleep for a long time on Mondays. So at least I can. I mean, it sucks for other people that have to get up early on Mondays, because you know you have the weekend. You do fun things. You do fun things on the weekends, yes, and usually you're like, oh crap, it's Sunday night. Or it's Saturday, it's Sunday, oh man, this sucks, I can't go do fun things because I have a class at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning that I can't miss, or I have a test tomorrow morning, blah, blah, blah. For me, my first class on Monday is at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So, and that class I don't even really have to go to, because it's kind of a joke of a class, but I'm not going to say the name of the class, because that would be not nice to, you know, it wouldn't be nice. So it's kind of like, you fuck up your exams, you're kind of in a hole. So it's kind of like all the classes and everything isn't really worth as much as it was in high school, where you have all these little assignments that add up and you can sort of like fudge your way. You know what I mean? Like when you have like a 88.8% and you need like 0.6% more, or 0.7, or that's not right, 0.7% more to get yourself an A, and your teacher kind of gives you this little assignment, or you find some old thing that you didn't do and you turn it in late and they give you half credit and you get you can't do that because there's no little assignments to turn in. Like homework, there is no such thing as homework. I mean, there is, but it's not required. You don't get graded for it. They just expect you to do it if you want to pass the test. I think that's sort of the selling point in the entire college whatever, is that yeah, you could slack off, you can go party, you can do all this other crap, but, you know, if you don't study, the only grades we're giving you is your test. So, you know, as long as you think you know the material, you can go and do those things, but if you come and you fail your tests, that's your fault, you know. It's sort of along the lines of, you know, it's all up to you, as opposed to in high school where they force you to do everything, and if you don't do everything, you get in trouble. Here, it's like, you get in trouble, but the trouble is you fail. But it's been an interesting start. I mean, I've only been here, well, this is the 4th week. We're halfway through the 4th week. I just was home this past weekend just to, you know, go home. To be quite honest, I've sort of been like by myself most of the time. I mean, that doesn't count playing Ultimate on the Ultimate team, which is, you know, that takes up a decent amount of time, and playing in band and doing those, and doing like the organizations and clubs kind of thing, where obviously you're with other people because you can't really have a club by yourself. It wouldn't, that sounds really dumb. I'm going to stop talking about that now. But, you know, besides the organizations like Frisbee and band and, like, hang out with Abe and stuff, I don't really have like a group of friends that I hang out with all the time. I mean, I have like some people in my classes that, you know, and some people that I met from Ultimate and stuff that like I hang out with every once in a while. I'm not stressing over it that much. I'm just kind of doing what I need to do, taking the time that I need to do it, and just kind of going with the flow. And it's been fun so far. I mean, I can't say that I'm not enjoying myself. I mean, I have a lot more freedom. I get to do a lot more things that I like don't always get to do. I can just randomly go down and go to 7-Eleven and get taquitos whenever the hell I want to go. You know, it's just like those simple freedoms really make a difference. Like you think, oh, you know, it's not that big a deal. I'd like to be able to do all these other things. Like, I don't know what else you'd rather do besides go get taquitos. I mean, that's like the sole purpose of life. Getting taquitos and smoothies from the million different smoothie places around here. I don't know what else you could possibly want to do, but like, it's those simple freedoms that you didn't have before, that you have now, that I think really make the big difference, because you have a ton of little freedoms that build up into like being free as the wind blows. I've just been doing a lot of thinking about, you know, I mean, obviously being an engineer, materials engineering, you know, I chose it quite honestly because it was different. I didn't want to be like everybody else. And I mean, when I first came into it, you know, I'm thinking, I had in mind the whole snowboard thing because of dad being in, you know, the travel agency business and everything like that. And, you know, just having those connections and being exposed to that a lot, you know, really kind of made me want to do that. But the thing that sucks is, you know, I get myself so pumped up to, you know, oh yeah, I'm going to design snowboards. I'm going to start my own company, blah, 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 blah. First of all, there's tons of reasons why I get myself down. Is because, first of all, I literally just started college, and I still have 4 more years after this one. So I still have 5 years before I'd even be anywhere close to doing anything like that. And then on top of that, I read articles about, like, this guy, the guy who started Rome Snowboards, I forget what his name is, but he's the guy who started Rome Snowboards, and he went to the University of Vermont. He went to a college in Vermont, and he was an engineering major as well. I think he was mechanical engineering, and he, you know, out of college, he worked for an engineering firm, you know, doing some minor engineering things. Like, when you first get a job as an engineer, or at least so they tell me, you know, you don't start out like looking at the big picture. You start out engineering a smaller component of a larger picture, like designing like a door handle of a car or something. You don't actually design the car. You just design. You're part of a group that designs a small part of whatever your company is designing as a whole. And he started out. He started out at a company like that. I forget exactly where he started out, but you know, he was just doing something small something smaller on a bigger scale, you know. But he wanted to be able to do his own thing, and eventually he got a job with Burton, because he's like in his 30s now. So it was back like when snowboarding was first becoming popular, and Burton Snowboards was not a very popular company back then. Well, I can't say they weren't popular. I mean, there just weren't that many snowboard companies then. I think Burton and K2 and maybe 1 or 2 others were like the only snowboarding companies there were, and they were really small companies at that time. So they needed engineers, design engineers, and I think there was only like 20 people, maybe less than that, maybe like 10 to 20 people on the design team for Burton Snowboards. Like, that was it. That was all they had, was those people. And like, none of them had any experience, because it was such a new field that you can't really have work experience in a field that's only been around for like less than 5 years. I mean, so he gets a job at Burton as a designer because they needed a young engineer who also snowboards. And that's where my problem comes in, is that I want to say it's a passion. You know, I want to be able to do that and design the snowboards and maybe start my own company. And I have names picked out for things, and you know, I have all these plans for myself. And I guess it's just me being wishful. You know, you got to have dreams, but then at the same time, you hear about how much, like in this article I was reading about this guy, he talks so much about how important it is that all the people that worked there were avid snowboarders, and they all understood the sport like tooth and nail, down to like they knew down to a point like the different things about the sport, and they all had ridden like hundreds of different boards by the time they started working there, and they had all, you know, been all around the world snowboarding. They had really experienced the sport and been able to be exposed to so many different outlets for the sport, and then that really builds their passion, and that's how they get so good at what they do. And my problem is, you know, I snowboard. I don't think I'm that great. I get to go less than 5 times a year, and you have people that live. That's why he went to the college in Vermont, so he could go snowboarding all the time. And then you have people like him, and like hundreds of thousands of other people like that, who, you know, get to go snowboarding almost 100 times a year. Like, they go day after day after day in the winter, and they get to get better and better and better. And that's where my problem is. I don't really live in a place, and I don't really have the time to where I can just go and do that every day, which makes me wonder how that guy did what he did. Like, he got an engineering degree. How did he get an engineering degree, but yet still manage to have 80 ski days in a winter? Like, how do you study and be able to pass your classes and go to the mountain every day and do that? Hello? There's somebody at the door. Why would somebody knock at the door? 1 second. Okay. Locked it. Not trying to be paranoid or anything, but whatever. So anyway, you know, it's kind of like, I wish I could be in the place where I could go snowboarding every day and be able to do that and be able to get better at the sport. Like, I feel like I have potential to be really good, but, you know, just like anything else in life, if you don't do it enough, you can't get really good at it, you know? And I feel like that's what would keep me from being able to do the whole snowboard design company thing, is not having that experience as a snowboarder, because I feel like they value that passion and that, you know, true like hot-blooded like love for the sport and experience in the sport. They value that a lot higher than the actual like engineering degree, like, because you can get a degree from anywhere, you know, and you know basically the same thing, but the people who get the jobs are the people who know what they're talking about specifically to that field. Like I said, it goes for anything, but especially for snowboarding in general. You know, the people who are avid snowboarders and who know what they're talking about are going to be able to get the jobs over the people like me who maybe have a better degree or like from a better school. You know, I might know more technically about like how to make things and like about the different materials, but since I don't snowboard all the time, I'm the one at a disadvantage, and I recognize that, and that's what I'm really worried about. Is, you know, am I going to be able to do this when I'm older? It's like part of me just wants to like hop school and go snowboard all the time, but then it's like you can't get your degree if you're out snowboarding all the time, but you can't snowboard all the time if you're trying to get your degree. So I'm trying to like think, I guess, you know, you have to go when you can, whatever. There's people at the door, I swear. Kind of crazy, and I would not put it past them, because one night last weekend, went to bed at like, it was late, we got back late, and it was probably like 2 a.m. and I think we forgot to lock the door. Well, we had to have forgotten to lock the door, or I hope we forgot to lock the door, because we woke up the next morning, or I rolled over, we went to bed at like 2:30, 3 o'clock, and I rolled over like in my sleep, kind of half awake at like 6 or 7, and the door was wide open. And I'm like, I went back to sleep because I was too tired. I thought I was just dreaming, but whatever. But then I woke up at like 10 o'clock later that morning, and the door was still open, and Mike and Roman were still asleep. So I'm like, okay, great. Somebody was in our room in the middle of the night last night, walking around. I thought we locked the door, but apparently we didn't. If you have one goal, that you're trying to reach, it'd be a lot easier for you to reach that goal if you can focus on that one thing and just push towards that one thing instead of having like you're trying to juggle like 4 balls all at the same time. You can't really do that. So that's why I'm trying to figure out, what I want to do. But I guess, that's what I'm here for. That's what college is for. You're supposed to get your degree and figure out what you want to do. And I think the co-ops are really going to help me. Maybe I'll get to go work at a snowboarding place. That would be the best thing, is to go talk to people, make connections, and see if this is really what I want to do. If not, then that's a good thing. Now I know that maybe that's not the right thing for me. But I just hope that in the next 5 years or 4 years, 4.5 years, I can find the thing that I really want to do. And I want to be able to find something that I know I'm going to enjoy doing every day, because I don't want to get stuck in a job, in a cubicle, where I'm not doing anything that's fun. I want to be able to have fun, but I know everybody really wants that in the end. But I really, really want to be able to have a good job where I can make a decent amount of money, support a family, which is one other thing that I really, really want to have. I want to be able to have a family. And that's another, just like I obsess over thinking about how, I'm going to, or what I'm going to do with my life in the future as far as occupation and what I want to do with like my life as a job. But on the other hand, I also think about, I really want to be able to have a family, and I focus, I guess I can't say I focus, I just randomly think all the time about, like, who am I going to be with? Like, where are we going to be? If I have a job or something that I love to do, and so does the other person, what are we going to do? Am I going to have to give up what I want to do and go live with them? Or will they be willing to come live with me in Colorado like I have planned? Or, like, what's the person who I'm going to be with going to be like? Are they going to want to have kids? I guess I'll find out. But it's like, I think about these things all the time, and I'm always worried about, like, trying to do it in the here and now. Like, I want to be able to see results now. Like, I want to be able to, okay, this is what I'm going to end up doing, and this is the track I'm on, and this is where I'm headed, and I can see where I'm going, and I can see who I'm going to be with then. I can see how everything's going to play out. But then inside I realize, the future is in the future. The future is the future is the future. You can't expect to know what's going to happen to you years down the road. And I feel like that's my problem, is I'm so worried about where I'm going to be and who I'm going to be with, how my life is going to be then, that I'm not focusing enough on the here and the now. And getting to there, like, every step along the way gets me closer to that ideal future. And I feel like just like I was talking about, with if you have more than one goal, it's hard to do really well at both, it's really hard to reach both your goals at the same time. It's easier to focus on one thing. And I think I'm too busy focusing on something that I can't change. Like, my future is my future. My destiny is set for me. God has made a path for me, and I'm going to follow it in whatever way He leads me. So, I can't change that. So what I need to do is, instead of focusing on the goal of figuring out what I'm going to do in the future, 5 years from now or whatever, I need to focus on now and how I'm going to get there. And I think it's so easy for me to say all this, but then to actually do it, like, because I do that all the time. Like, I say things and I think things, and I listen to what I'm thinking or listen to what I'm saying, and I'm like, that's really true. Like, what I'm saying has real meaning to it, and like, I want to be able to do what I'm saying. I want to be able to follow the morals that I'm setting for myself. But then in the end, I end up slacking off and not doing what I say I'm going to do. And it's kind of like frustrating, because then I'm back to square one, and it has to do with a lot of things in life, and a lot of people understand what I'm talking about. But it's not easy all the time to stick to what you say you're going to do, because there's temptations and things in other things that kind of set you off track. So, I know I'll be okay in the end. I'm not worried about the future. I'm not worried that I'm going to be in a bad place. I'm not worried that I'm not going to be with somebody and be happy and have a good family. I know that stuff's going to happen, because I'm going to make it happen. Like, I'm not going to let myself falter in that way. I know it's going to happen. but it's gonna go well, but we'll see how it goes. So, wish me luck, because there's a lot of pressure. Most of it is from myself, me just putting pressure on myself. That's just the kind of person I am. And, I'll be all right. I think I'll make it, and I think it'll be a fun ride. And I want to be able to enjoy college, because they say these years are like the best years of your life. Your life. So I don't want to waste them away stressing over so many little things that I can't change. I want to be able to live it up. And I hate saying that because it's so cliche, living it up. It's just like, people say it all the time, oh yeah, go to college and live it up, yay! I'm like, yeah, okay, I understand, you're gonna have fun, that's awesome. But like, yeah, I understand. I want to be able to have fun and meet people and do all kinds of fun things and study abroad in Australia, for Pete's sake, which I'm going to sort that out very soon, because I definitely want to do that, because I feel like that would be so fun. But I just want to be able to experience it. I just want to experience everything, get a taste of everything, and everything will come from that. You can't try and get somewhere without taking a first step. I was trying to think of some nice metaphor for that, but my mind went blank there, so I'm just gonna leave you on that. So, if future Andrew is watching this, if you're watching this in the future, dude, good job. I know you're gonna do a good job, and I know you did, because you've done a good job so far. And I'm talking to myself, like, when you make a video, you're talking to yourself because you're just talking to a camera, but like literally, I am talking to myself. I'm like directing my thoughts and my words to myself through a camera. I can actually sort of see my reflection, so it's not that weird, but, well, yeah. That actually makes it more weird, but whatever. I got money! And I've always wanted to do this. I've been sort of collecting $1 bills. Where's my wallet? I've been collecting $1 bills so I'd be able to do this. And it's just for this reason. Like, because every time I go and buy something, and like, when I buy things at like 7-Eleven, like my taquitos and like drinks and stuff, like I purposely try and figure out what denomination of bill I can use that will give me the most $1 bills. Because it is my goal to have a huge, like, wad of $1 bills. And I'm gonna save them. And just see what I can do with it, because this is what I plan on doing with it. So I got all these ones, and I was just gonna be like, except theoretically it'll look cooler than that when you have like a bunch. Shaking my head. I have a lot of dollars.